Hello and welcome to our November 2025 collective energy forecast. This first little chunk here is also going to serve as our mystic message for this week. So, we have a couple of themes for this month that I feel like we've all been seeing build over the course of this year. If you've watched the mystic messages or you've tuned into the energy forecasts, we've seen the groundwork being laid for what's taking place right now, which is ultimately the beginning of the end, which serves as almost the beginning of something new, right? Because we have to have this tower moment, everything kind of fall apart and crumble so we can rebuild something new. And for years, many of us have been doing this very internally. And that has set the stage for where we're at, where we're seeing it play out in the world around us. So this first part that came through that I'm going to allow be part of our mystic message, the word was seismic. And I'm not going to go super deep into does this mean earthquakes and seismic activity on the earth, because I'm not someone who loves to get into kind of future predictions like that. There's so many timelines taking place. However, it means a lot of things from an energetic and a metaphorical standpoint, and maybe we do see it play out in a literal sense. So if you think about seismic activity, right, it is this rumbling beneath the surface. It's stuff that we cannot see on the surface of our planet, of our reality, the rumbling from the depths, the stuff underneath. And it's coming to the surface. This is think like a volcano, think like that energy of, that image of the iceberg in the water, and there's that much that's above the surface, and there's this much that's beneath the surface. And the whole point of the sharing of that kind of metaphorical image is the top is the conscious mind, and the underneath is the subconscious and unconscious mind. That is on a personal level is very much what's taking place, but also on a collective level. So it's think about that image of the iceberg. How much of what's underneath the surface have you personally dove into of your own subconscious and unconscious mind and programming and beliefs and emotions and energies that you're holding? If you have faced a lot of that stuff, this phase, this period we're entering into is going to look a little bit different. Whereas if you haven't faced those things, or maybe some of your loved ones, friends and family, coworkers, just neighbors, people around you, it's about to erupt. It's about to erupt. Everything from underneath is about to come to the surface. We cannot hide it anymore. It's like this, almost like this feeling of like the underworld coming up to the surface. And it may feel disorienting, and it may leave you feeling hazy and confused. But again, where you are on this kind of personal shadow journey is going to dictate a lot. This is why we've been getting the messages for months and months and months and months. Foundations, because everything's about to crumble, but what you've anchored in is what will stay. So think about it, right? Think about a person standing on the surface of the earth, and you have this anchor, energetic, physical, whatever image makes sense to you, and you anchor that down, and it goes deep, 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 deep through the earth, all the way to the center of the earth. And now the seismic activity is erupting and exploding and, crumbling the earth and the ground and the foundations all around you. Then you're going to feel unstable. It's going to feel like, what the hell's going on? But if you have some stuff, so your own foundations, your own priorities, your own truths anchored in, there's something to hold on to. There's a constant. There's something to keep you stable, to keep you okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. We don't need a ton. We want it all to fall apart, but we don't want to fall apart with it. So that is why a lot of this conversation around foundations has been coming up. The facade is crumbling. The bullshit. So if you think about it like the underworld coming to the surface, I think many cultures, many beliefs, many different people who might be watching this might have a different opinion or perspective or belief on the underworld. You know, if we think in a broad sense as the underworld kind of containing a space to hold the lower vibrational frequencies on our earth, on our planet, our own low vibrational fractals, those things are the root of what's on the surface. The stuff on the surface has legs, it has roots, there's a causation there. So if we think whether it's the government or the political structures or our jerk coworkers or boss or family members or abusers or whatever, that's the manifestation on the surface. That's that top half of that iceberg. But underneath the surface, there's something much bigger taking place. There's something much bigger than the faces of these politicians or the laws that they're putting into place or the decisions being made. That is what is on the surface. That is the picture, the face. That is what is being presented to us that, you know, whatever powers that be that you want to dive into or believe in, want us to see and believe in. But what's underneath it, when we can see what's underneath it, that is how we can dismantle it. That's how we can find the holes. That's how once we rip the roots and the legs from the face, it crumbles. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing having this kind of underworld uprising in a lot of ways, because it's going to allow for a massive release. It's going to allow so much of this kind of BS to crumble and to see the truths behind it all. And those truths are going to be things that a lot of people probably are not going to like. They might be things that will completely shatter our belief systems and realities, because the roots of the stuff on the surface here, right? Government, politics, media, news, religions, various different things. What's underneath that is the root of it all is very energetic. It's very alternative history-esque. It's going to blow up a lot of what we believe. It's going to be like a collective ego death in a lot of ways, but also, in my personal opinion, as someone who, you know, loves to connect with the shadow and kind of see the darker sides of our duality, I think it's going to bring a lot of compassion at the same time. Because we're going to see that these faces, right, these ones on the surface that we dislike and feel really awful or negative, or we blame them or what have you, right? There's something deeper going on. And most of the powers that be up on the kind of the face of it all are not necessarily the root cause of it all. They're not the one. They're more like the puppet. They're more like those being used. They chose these incarnations to be the bad guy for these other kinds of reasons, and what's really running the show is really underneath. And that's a combination of lower vibrational frequencies and beings and entities, which a lot of that is rooted in suppressed low vibrational emotions. And when you really see that so much of the foundations of our reality is suppressed emotions, that's all going to come to the surface, and we're going to realize it's a mirror. The collective reality and what's happening with Mother Gaia with this kind of suppression of these lower vibrational emotions and frequencies manifests in really ugly stuff. It manifests in power and greed and control and abuse and violence and lack of sovereignty. All of what is being shown is a byproduct of what is underneath. And what is underneath is going to erupt up. And so it's going to be messy. It's going to feel really unhinged. It's going to be like, is this even, are we in the Twilight Zone? Are we like, is this real life? But it has to come to the surface so that it can fall apart. And so we're going to start seeing truths. And this isn't just November. This is moving forward. And so again, that is kind of the collective theme, is this uprising of the underworld. The face behind the mask. If you think about these, you know, the government, politics, media, influencers, criminals, all these things, right? There's something behind the mask, and that is what is about to be presented. And some people might have compassion. Some people might see it as a mirror for themselves. And that's a lot of what tends to happen, is something really ugly that we hate is a mirror for something within our shadow. I'm not saying I think you're like as terrible as maybe what other people might perceive certain politicians or people as. I'm saying there's a quality there. There's something deep. And so at the end of the day, we can't control what's happening all around us, but it's going to trigger stuff within yourself. So where you are on your shadow work journey is going to dictate how this kind of collective underworld uprising is going to affect you. Because you're going to have, you know, if you have not faced any of your darkness, it's about to come face to face with you. You're wearing your own mask. Everyone else is wearing their own masks. Those masks are about to dissolve, and you're about to see the ugly in others, and they're about to see the ugly in you. And when I say ugly, I mean shadow, and I mean it's not actually ugly. I mean it is the other side. It is the side that you're hiding because you think it's ugly, and in the reality is it's just another half. It's just the dark that counters and balances the light. It's not ugly. It's not bad. It's not to be judged. And almost what better way to kind of have it unmasked than to have everything unmasked at the same time and realize, you know, you don't have to judge it in yourself, because you can hold compassion for that same quality in your friends, your neighbors, your family members. And so there's going to be a big call into shadow work. All right. If you are watching the Mystic Message, I'm going to leave it here. I have another couple of pages of notes and another maybe 20 minutes to go for our energy forecast. So if you want to tune into the rest of it, you can come and subscribe and get access to the rest of this. But if you're watching the Mystic Message, mwah, I love you. Sending you so much love.